Alright guys, today I'll be talking about these affordable ND filters by Yeteeth for the Air 3. Alright, taking a closer look at what you get in this pack. You have an ND 8, 16, 32, and 64. I currently have the 64 on the drone right now, and I'll be using that for the first half of the test. So there is the 64 that's already affixed to the drone. It looks pretty decent. Pretty nice looking filter. Again, Air 3. As you see, I'm using the base RCN2 remote paired with an iPhone 12 Pro Max and a sun hood that I 3D printed. They come in this little magnetic case. It's actually pretty nice. Stay secure. Opens and closes. And, no fear of it falling out or anything. Moving over to how to install them. Aluminum frame. 4 little hooks on the back. All right, once you have the stock glass off, you just line up the holes. You might have to finagle it a little, just like the stock ones. But they attach pretty easily, as you can see. Check it out. All right, it looks pretty good. Okay, time to get this bad boy up in the air and see how they look. This is with the 64 to start. I'm in a playground in McKinney, Texas. 2 nice size open fields. And no one's around. It should be a pretty nice flight. Let's go. Okay, here is my live feed. For some reason, I'm still receiving this remote ID error. It goes away after a few seconds, but it hasn't prevented me from flying. I've seen several people complaining about it online. I'm hoping it gets fixed in the next firmware update. Anybody has any info, let me know. Here's a video of my live feed, and for this, I'm going to be switching over to 24 frames, and we'll be shooting at 4K. I'm not really doing a bunch of video with this, just testing it out. And D-Log M. So I'm going to start with 100 ISO, play around with the shutter a little bit. So 1/50, you see it looks a little too bright. 1/40 is definitely out of the question. 1/60, still bright. So, I want to use a 180 rule. 1/100, it's still a little tad bright. I probably could edit it. 1/60 seems... I'm going to play with that for right now and just see how it looks until we get it up in the air. See if there's any changes we can make. Again, we're going to be using the 12 megapixel camera right now. Just flying around with that and see how it looks. Again, we'll be shooting in 4K, 25 frames. Before I said 24, I actually meant 25. Shutter speed's probably supposed to be about 1/50, but evidently this is not dark enough. We probably need a 128 or above to probably stay around that shutter speed that I want. But this is 1/60, just until we get it up in the air, gain some altitude, and see how it looks. But it doesn't look bad right now. It's just a tad bit dark. Probably go a little lighter. All right, here we are. Take it up a bit. 50, 60, 70 feet. Get it up to about 130, 140 feet. You're overlooking the McKinney Water Tower. Again, McKinney, Texas. It's an open field. Fly it out a little bit. Okay, here she is flying out. We're going to get it closer to that water tower, about 350 feet now. Still at that shutter speed of 1/160. And we're going to switch to that 3x zoom quick, see how it looks. So when I switch over to that 3x zoom, it looks like it switches over to 1/30 for the shutter speed. We're going to have to crack that up a little bit. 1/40 looks pretty decent. You can probably bump up a little bit more, but it doesn't look bad the way it is. I could make out the clouds a little bit better. It's a bit too overexposed. 1/30. 1/50 again would be ideal for this situation. So changing up the shutter speed, again using it 3x, 1/50. It looks fantastic. It's definitely not as overexposed as before. Again, this is shot in D-Log M, but I did take this footage and I color graded it and edited it a little bit. It looks fantastic. You can see the grass looks pretty rich and green. You're not seeing it in its full color, of course, but that's overlooking me right now. I'm underneath that little canopy over there. These filters are not split ND, so some of you guys just won't like these. So this is the N32, and you can see we're still at 1/160. I'm going to switch that shutter speed in a second. I think I end up here at 1 over 60, and it looks overexposed. You definitely have to use the at least 64 if you're going to be out here on a bright sunny day. But it doesn't look bad. See, I'm here switching it up now, 1 over 60. You can see it's definitely overexposed, but this is something you could probably still work with. And just so you guys know, I'm definitely not a professional when it comes to doing this. I just do this as a hobby, so I'm still learning. There's a lot I have to learn. If anybody has any suggestions on anything, please let me know. I'm going to fly over to that tower again, and I'm going to switch that shutter speed down to where it's supposed to be. As some of you may know, you guys will have autofocus issues when you use ND filters, especially on a drone because of the sensor size. You can use a manual to adjust it and make it look better. But I'm switching over here to 1 over 100 is where I end up. And you can see it's almost perfect there, which still looks good. So the 32 is still usable. You're just not going to get the 180 that you're supposed to use. All right, so I'm going to fly around a little bit, and you guys can watch the video and just tell me what you think. Again, we're sticking at 1 over 100, and I'm going to record some of this just to play back, and when I edit it, see how it looks. This is my first time ever using these, so you guys are watching it as I'm experimenting. So switching over to the 3x zoom, as you can see, I'm going to have to play with the shutter speed again. Since these aren't split NDs like the Freewell, which I'm probably going to end up ordering eventually. But for what I use these for right now, I just do like segment shots. So it doesn't matter to me whether or not, I have to play around with the shutter speed a little bit. It's definitely a headache, if you just want to attach them and just fly, then you're probably going to end up going with the Freewell. But for right now, for these work for me. It's better than not having a filter on it at all. So definitely for the price, it's a no lose here. So turning around and heading back to the home point, I'm going to change this out for the 16. I'm not going to be shooting with the 8. There's just no reason to do it. Again, it's going to be overexposed. So if you might as well not even have a filter on it at this point. When it's sunny outside like this, the 8 is kind of useless. Back with the 16 attached, and you could see it's definitely overexposed. 1 over 160, still super bright, but it looks pretty decent. It's definitely usable outside. The 16 is definitely usable. I just prefer the 64, especially when there's not a lot of clouds in the sky. It's a bright sunny day. It just looks a lot better, and you can play around with it a lot more. But in the future, I'd love to get probably that 128. I think that 128 would be like ideal for a bright sunny day. But it's definitely still doable with this. This is 1 over 320, and you can see it looks halfway decent. I'm going to fly around a little bit and switch to the 3x, and I'm going to play around with the shutter speed a little bit, so tell me what you think. So my opinion on these Yeteeth $27 non-split ND filters they're pretty decent, definitely worth the money, but if you have the $100, you can go with the Freewell. They have the split ND, which helps, you don't have to mess around with the shutter speed as much. I still have a little bit more experimenting to do to get the details on this, but I think it was a good purchase for what I do. Better than not having an ND filter at all. So check it out. Please follow my page and comment when any information you guys have at all on it. I added a clip to the end of this video, which is using the N32. It's edited in Lightroom, so nothing fantastic, just a basic editor. But thanks again for watching. I appreciate it.